Take it to Capitol Hill. You know, Republicans controlling the House and the Senate as well known, but the real fight is potentially at the state level. That's where we bring in Roland Martin, the host and managing editor of NewsOne and now on the TV1 cable network. Roland, old friend, good to see you, my friend. And you're saying we're watching all this stuff that's happening basically over your shoulder, but the real discussion, the real eyes and energy need to be on the state level.
Absolutely. The 2010 midterm elections flipped a significant number of state legislatures and gubernatorial matches from Democrats to Republicans. And so what you have seen is you've seen voter suppression, all these voter ID laws, all the attacks on voting being passed by Republicans, not in D.C., but in state capitals. And so you're seeing that. So you're seeing that in North Carolina, which I call the Alabama of the 21st century. And now they've even gone even more rogue, the Republicans there. The House this week just passed a series of bills limiting the Court of Appeals, going from 15 to 12. Also taking the power away from the governor, newly elected Democratic governor, to appoint district judges. They also want those same trial court judges in North Carolina to now be partisan races. So they don't want Democrats in control there. And so also go to Iowa, voter ID law. Go to Montana, where they actually proposed a bill for a special election to have mail-in ballots because it would reduce costs. The Republicans did oppose their very own bill because they said it would actually be helpful for Democrats. No, you go to Texas. Federal court just last night ruled that congressional districts there unconstitutional because they limited Latino power. People had better understand. You focus on Trump and Ryan and McConnell, but the real problems are what you're seeing in these states, and they're becoming entrenched.
Entrenched, and you know, one of the things that you're following as you talk to on your radio show and on your show every single day are those folks who are on the ground. And one of the thematics coming out, and you brought up Texas, for instance, North Carolina, another example here, bathrooms, transgender rights and laws that are currently being debated on the state level. We're looking at the question about immigration, which you also brought up.
Yep.
Those fights are happening on the state level. But when we look at, again, voting rights, in 2016, it did not seem to resonate in that cycle.
Well, and again, part of that was because of the efforts by Republicans to really change these laws. Yeah. These were a lot of ALEC-sponsored laws as well. Folks have been fighting these various laws, but you have to understand even how serious this is. You don't have any support now with the Department of Justice. The Jeff Sessions DOJ, they've already made clear that they're not going to accuse Texas of being discriminatory in their voter ID law, and so they're not going to fight these laws. Yeah. You're not going to have any help from Washington, D.C. and Department of Justice fighting any of these laws. Folks are getting mobilized. Reverend Dr. William Barber and others are training people in New Jersey, North Carolina to fight what's happening in state capitals. That's the real battle. Don't overlook these state capitals. It's getting ugly across the country.
You know, that's a really good point you're making there, Roland, because we saw in 14, 15, and 16 folks hitting to the streets more than ever before. And one might have said, oh, we're not going to see any more energy than that based on the concerns about community policing and others very important topics. But now we're seeing folks, as we've just been reporting today,
that's right.
Out with the vice president, right? Out with Darrell Issa that we've been showing at least today. A lot of energy. And the question might be, how will that translate locally to those elected? And
this is where organizing and mobilizing comes in. This is why the DNC chair race was so important, because you have to mobilize people early. What Democrats have done, they've always waited 6 months out. No, you must do it now. That's the real issue. And so, but it's not just Democrats. This is a nonpartisan deal. Yeah. You've got other groups out there who are organizing and mobilizing. 2018 is going to be a tough midterm election. Don't just focus on congressional races, who wins the House and the Senate. Will you see legislatures flip, gubernatorial mansions flip? Because that's where the real power, local power, impacts Americans more than Washington, D.C. does. But we tend to focus more on D.C. than what's happening in these state capitals.
Yeah, we're seeing those benches in assemblies and senates across the country really mobilizing and having their voice being heard. Roland Martin, thank you. Good to see you. It's been a while since we had a chance to talk on air, so it's good to see you.
Hey, let's do it.
All right.
Good seeing you.
All right, Roland. Thank you, sir.